So just feel the contact with the floor. The sense of the back of your head, the back of your shoulders, the length of your spine. The bum, I just feel, is one buttock bigger than the other? Is one buttock deeper into the ground than the other? Is one more up, one more wide? Do they have different textures? Can you let go into the buttock a little bit more? And you feel down into the pelvic floor, the deep of your belly. And that gentle movement of the breath into your belly. That steady sense of feeling into your body, being in your body. Sorry about that. So as you feel in, as you deepen in, what's the most obvious thing to you right now? As you sense into your body, what part of you is calling out or just being really present right now? And that could be something really comfortable, or that could be something slightly uncomfortable. That could be a sense of deep wellness, or just a sense of unease, or something that stands out and something slightly uneasy. Where is the most obvious physical sensations right now in your body? And then begin to layer in the many different sensations that we feel. So can you feel the temperature of the air around you? So even though the sun is shining, here there's a slight drizzle and there's a wind. And so it has this kind of two different elements at the moment. So can you feel that fluctuation of air maybe, or temperature that's happening right now? And can you feel it in your body as you rest here right now? Do you get a sense of the work that you did in your body today, whether you went for a walk, whether you sat in an office, whether you dug the garden? Can you just track into something of the beingness in your body from the events of your day? You know, if you had a really big lunch, if you had a snooze in the afternoon, can you feel any of that right now in your body? Can you get a sense of the weight of you on the floor? So the contact between you and the floor, the back of your heels or the soles of your feet, the backs of your calves, the backs of your thighs, your buttocks, the lower back, the length of the back of your rib cage, the shoulder blades, backs of your arms, the back of your head. And then there's a sense of movement in you. So in wherever that sensation was that you felt that was something that was really obvious to you, see if you can feel the weight of your body in that place, or see if you can feel the movement of your body in that place. Can you sense the temperature outside or the temperature inside in that place? Can you feel contact of your clothing or just the air or whatever, you know? So you're layering in, it's almost like you're creating a kind of a much more three-dimensional view or understanding of sensations in the body. Can you feel the position of your body in that place? And people keep asking me if my leg has been itchy, and it hasn't at all. And I don't know whether that's because it's only been 3 weeks that I'm in a cast, but my sense is that I keep tracking the many different sensations that are in my leg continuously. I'm going, I can feel temperature, I can feel pressure, I can feel contact, I can feel movement, I can feel bone, I can feel muscle, I can feel fascia, you know, so I'm layering in all the time the multitude of different sensations. And in that, there is sometimes something that could be an itch, but because it's within context of all the other sensations that I'm also feeling, it doesn't feel like anything that's in any way more than the fact that I can feel the cast or feel my toes. Or so I think it's these skills that we're learning to embody the layers of us and to embody the way that we are in ourselves, actually have really good applications in moments like this. You know, it brings our body into a deeper sense of wellness, and it puts things into perspective. And then come back to your breath again. So as you breathe down into your belly, as you really sink your belly, sink the breath. Just notice the smoothest sense of your breath or the deepest sense of your breath. And I love that sense of coherency, you know, so where in your breath do you feel like the breath is doing exactly as it smoothly should? And maybe right now that isn't something that's in your breath, or maybe there's parts of your breath that feel like that. So where in the cycle of the inhale, the pause, the exhale, and the pause, do you feel a sense of smooth, coherent harmony in the breath? Just notice in the cycle of the full cycle of the breath, the inhale, the exhale, there's certain moments that feel just like so wonderful. So see if you can find the sweet moment. For me, it's like just near the very end of my exhalation. There's this like poignant, sweet, almost like a teary moment in myself where it's like this deep sense of sweetness in my body. So notice for you, where in the cycle of your breath do you feel something that feels very nice? Nice. Just one more breath. Appreciate that place again, one last time. Nice. And then come to bend your knees and bring your feet to stand. Feet are hip distance apart, flat on the floor. And your hands can either rest on your lower belly or they can rest long down beside you. And then just pull your lower back down and flatten into the floor. And as you just move from arching into flattening, notice the quality of movement that you're creating. So Is it a strong movement? Is it a supple movement? Is it a jerky or a stiff movement? Does it have a sense of connected flow, or does it feel a little bit like it could smoothen out more? Just as you flatten down and then arch and flatten down and arch, and one more time, flattening down and arch. Nice. So flattening down into your lower back, and then just lift your right hip off the floor, but keep your knees centered. So it's only the right bum and hip that you've lifted off the floor. And then drop that down, and then lift the left bum and hip off the floor. And then lower down, and just do that a few times. It's kind of like the movement that happens in your body when you're walking. Well, just feel that you lift one buttock and side of your pelvis off the floor, and then the other buttock and the other side of the pelvis off the floor. How do you do that? How do you lift and lift? Nice. One more time. Lift and lift. Nice. From here, squeeze both knees up onto your chest, hug them in. And then just rock gently from side to side. Just warming up into the lower back, and keep pulling your knees towards you so you're really stretching into or softening into the skin at the back of the body, the sense of your sacrum, the way your thighs and your belly are in contact. Nice. And then stretch both legs straight up towards the ceiling and surge down into your heels, feeling the stretch into your heels as you draw your toes towards you. And then extending up into your toes and heels, toes. And one more time, heels, toes. Nice. Bend your knees, and then from here, begin to just roll into your lower back in a big circle, but keep your thighs together, keep your feet together, and notice what's happening in your abdominal muscles. So your arms are long beside you, and you're rolling your knees in a circle. And is your abdominal muscles, do they soften or release, or do they stretch as your knees move away? Or do they stay short as they move away? So can you shorten your abdominal muscles a little bit more? So one way of doing that is reach your arms up towards the ceiling, flatten your lower back down a little bit more, and then drop your arms at a 45 degrees over your head. And really feel like you're trying to connect your belly and your arms together. And you'll notice that perhaps there's more sensation through the abdominal muscles as you do this. Nice. And then roll in the other direction. Feeling into the abdominal muscles as you roll in a circle. You can have your arms just above the floor if that creates more connection, or you can have your arms at a 45-degree angle. Nice. Come all the way back to center. Keep reaching through your fingers, and then slowly lower your toes down and let them tap the floor, and then come back and squeeze your knees deeply up towards your chest. Keep your arms reaching at a 45-degree angle or just above the floor. Lower your toes down, let them tap the floor, but see if you can keep your lower back on the floor as you lower your feet down. So keeping the lower back on the floor, drop your heels down, and draw your knees up towards your chest. Keeping your lower back on the floor, drop your heels down or your toes down, and come all the way back. And one more time, keeping your lower back on the floor, drop your toes down, and come back. Great. Squeeze both knees deeply towards you. Keep reaching through your arms, and then stretch the left leg long until it floats just above the floor. Keep your lower back on the floor. Nice. Bend your left knee right up towards you, and then stretch the right leg long. Stretching out, keep your lower back on the floor, keep drawing backwards through the navel, through the rib cage. And coming all the way back up. Great, down on the left leg, keeping your lower back on the floor, stretching out through the left leg. And all the way back up. And last time, stretch out through the right leg, keeping the lower back on the floor. And come all the way back up. Great. Stretch your arms straight up towards the ceiling. Stretch your legs up towards the ceiling. And then lower your arms down, lower your legs down, keeping your lower back on the floor. Lower them down to whatever point you can keep your lower back on the floor. And then come back up, bring your fingers to your toes and your toes to your fingers. Lowering down again, keeping your lower back on the floor. Bring your toes to your fingers and your fingers to your toes. And again, lowering down and rising up. Toes to your fingers, fingers to your toes. Last time, lowering down and rising up. Super. Push both elbows into the floor beside you. Bend your knees and keep your knees moving up towards your chest and keep your knees together and your ankles together. And then begin to bring your knees over towards the right. So you're feeling the strength of the left side of your waist, the left side of your belly. Nice. Come back up to center. And then down towards the left, feeling the strength of the right side of your waist, the right side of your belly. And back up to center. Over towards the right. And back up to center. And then over towards the left. Nice, and back up to center. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees apart. And just pull your feet towards your belly. Have your arms long beside you. So pulling your feet towards your belly, have a sense of your inner thighs working, and then widen into your inner thighs. So begin to lengthen into your inner thighs so your knees are moving away from you as you pull your feet towards your belly. Nice, and then lower your right leg all the way down until it lands on the floor over towards the right, but your left leg is still floating. It's kind of, you fold it a little bit into your thigh, so your knees are a little bit closer. And now bring your left knee to your right foot. And then bring your left foot to your right foot. And then come all the way back up. Drop the left thigh all the way down until it touches the floor. And then bring your right foot to your left, right knee to your left foot. Bring your right foot to your left foot. And then come all the way back up. So we turn our foot. So we'll do it in center first, actually. That's a better idea. So when we're in center here, only move the right leg. Bring the right knee to the left foot with your right foot really wide into over towards the right. And then bring your right foot to your left foot. So you're just turning the right leg as we do this. Turn the right foot leg in. So bring your right knee down to the left foot. And then turn your right foot back out again. So you're coming back up into the normal soles of your feet together, knees apart. One more time, draw your right knee in, bringing your right foot wide, and then bring your 2 feet together. Nice, we'll try the other side. Bring your left knee in, bringing your left foot wide so that your left knee is resting on your right foot, and then bring both feet together. Bring your left knee in, and then both feet together. One more time, left knee in, and then both feet together. So we'll try that now over to the side. That might be clearer this time. So drop your right thigh all the way down until it rests on the floor just about. I'm kind of still floating slightly. I haven't dropped my weight completely. Now bring your left knee in. So bring your left knee down towards your right foot. And then come back up with bring your 2 feet together. Come back up. And then drop your thigh over towards the left. Drop your right knee in. Bring both feet together. Come back up. So glide from side to side. Bring your thigh down. Turn the top leg inwards. Bring your feet back together. Come back all the way back up. And then down towards the left. Turn the top thigh inwards. And both feet together. And all the way back up. Nice. Reach down, holding onto your ankles. And pull your feet over your face. So your feet are over your face. You're holding onto your feet. And you're really deepening and diving your feet down towards your face. Just feel that. And you're pulling your foot down, feeling the deep of your pelvis, the deep of your belly, and really settle into it. Like, how would you wiggle a bit deeper so that you really feel a widening through the sides of the leg? So the outside of the calf, the deep of your inner thighs. And you're really settling a little bit deeper and deeper down, so your feet are kind of sinking closer and closer towards you. Nice, and then just rock slowly from side to side. So go slowly, so one side, the other side. Notice what happens as you rock from side to side. What changes in the inner thighs? What changes in your spine? What changes in the outside of your feet? As you rock from side to side. Feet are over your chest or over your face. As you rock from one side and to the other side. One side to the other side. Nice. Stretch both legs up towards the ceiling. And just roll out your ankles into a big circle. And as you roll, feel like your knees are kind of doing frog knees and your hips are rolling in the sockets. So you're really exaggerating the movement of your legs and your feet. And then roll in the other direction. Nice. Bring both feet to the floor. Bring your arms wide so they're straight out to your sides and across. And then drop both knees down towards the right. And then come into the gliding twist, but kick your left leg in the gliding twist. So the football gliding twist. So your left leg is stretched out and it's resting up towards the right hand. And just settle in there with length through the left side of your waist. Keep your left shoulder down towards the floor. And just breathing into that. Nice. Bend your knee. Come all the way back, both feet to the floor. Drop both knees down towards the left and then kick your right leg up and over. And deepening into it, really draw that right shoulder down, feel your chest opening. Nice. And bend your knee, come all the way back. Nice. So stretch your right leg long. This right leg is long, left knee is floating in the air. So drop your left knee over towards the right and then stretch your left leg. And keep your left shoulder down towards the floor. So now we're doing a version of the gliding twist, but now our two legs are straight. And you're really, the weight of your body is different now, because before your right knee would really hold the weight of your torso. Now you've got to hold the torso weight in itself. So keep that left shoulder coming back. Keep it down on the floor, stretching long into both legs. Nice. Bend your knee, come all the way back. Both knees up towards your chest and stretch the left leg long. And then drop the right knee over towards the left and then stretch out through the right leg. So both legs are straightening and you're really drawing that right shoulder deeply into the floor. Nice. Bend your knee and come all the way back. Squeeze both knees up towards you. So just stretch the right leg long and then swing the left leg over. Come back to center. Squeeze both knees up onto your chest. Stretch the left leg long. Let it rest on the floor. Swing the right foot over towards the left. So you're doing a version of the gliding twist with both knees up towards your chest in the middle. And then you stretch out the right leg and then swing the left leg over towards the right side. Come back to center. Squeeze both knees up onto your chest. And then straighten the left leg. Swing the right leg over. So continue. Just really feel into the sense of the reaching, the swinging, the connecting, into the strength of your legs, the strength of your torso. Stretching out, swinging your leg over. One more time each side. Squeeze your knees up towards your chest, stretch the right leg long, or whichever one you're stretching it. Swing the left leg over. Come back, both knees up towards your chest. And stretch the left leg long. Swing the right leg over. And come back up to center. Nice. Squeeze both knees towards you. Hug them deeply in. And then stretch the right leg up towards the ceiling and hold on somewhere down along the back of the right calf or thigh or knee. And then stretch the left leg long until it stretches out and floats just above the floor. And really stabilize, so draw your shoulders backwards, draw your lower back backwards, really stabilize by engaging the belly, engaging the core. And just pull that right leg a little bit closer towards you. So bend your left knee and draw your left knee up towards your chest. And as you do so, you'll feel your right leg come closer and your bum lift a little bit off the floor maybe. And then stretch your left leg long and let it float just above the floor. And deepen into it, stretching into both legs. And again, bend your left knee and draw your left knee up towards your chest as close as you can, and even feel your bum lift a little bit up as you draw your thighs as close to your chest as you can. And then stretch that left leg long again. You're still holding on to your right leg the whole time. And stretch that left leg long. Nice. And again, bend the left knee. Draw it up towards you. Let your bum lift as you do so. And stretch the left leg long. And let it float just above the floor. Nice. Keep your right hand on your right leg. Bring your left hand to the front of the left thigh. And then open your right leg out towards the right. So you're not twisting the body, you're keeping your lower back anchored. You're really sinking down through the navel, you're drawing the rib cage backwards, you're stretching deeply down into that right heel. And really feel like both legs are engaged, you're stretching into the heel of both legs. You have a deep sense of the breath down into the belly. So I love that sense of the anchor of my hand on my left thigh. Gives me a point of reference of where I'm stretching away from. So I even push my hand into my thigh a little bit and then begin to lengthen into the inner thigh of the right leg. But there feels like my left hand is really giving me this deep sense of presence or pressure that I can work away from. Nice. We're going to do the same again as we did before. Bend your left knee and draw your left knee up towards your chest. And then let your left leg slowly lengthen out and really feel that you're sinking down into the deep of your hips as you do so, stretching into both legs. Bend your left knee, draw your left knee up towards your chest. And then stretch long down into that left leg and really feel that both legs are dynamic and stretching long. Nice, last time. Bend your left knee, draw your left knee up towards you. And then stretch long into that left leg, stretch into both legs. Nice, bend your right knee and draw your knee back up to center. And bend your left knee, squeeze your knee up towards you. And then just come into butterfly knees, knees widen, toes lower down towards the floor. Keep your lower back on the floor as you roll in the circle. So you're trying to engage the deep lower belly, the abdominal muscles. The sense of the rib cage, and then roll in the other direction. Nice. So stretch your left leg up towards the ceiling and hold on somewhere down the left leg, and then extend the right leg long until it floats just above the floor. So you're holding on to the left leg and your right leg is long and strong. And so anchor down through your lower back and stretch from the top of your head down to both of your heels. So feel like you really own your legs. You really are in possession of the strength of them, the weight of them, the connection into them, that you can feel that stretching into your toes actually brings a lightness to your legs. Really feeling that you're reaching from your belly creates a sense of wholeness and strength and length into your legs. The more connected we are to our legs, actually the lighter they become, which is really quite amazing. Great. Right, and then bend your right knee, draw your right knee up onto your chest, and as you do so, let your bum lift a little bit more off the floor. So you're really squeezing your thighs down towards your chest, and then unfold your right leg and let it stretch long and just above the floor, down into your heel. Nice, bend your right knee, draw your right knee up towards your chest, let your bum lift a little bit more off the floor and squeeze, and then stretch out long into that right leg. Feeling the dynamic of stretching into both heels as you do so. And again, draw your right knee up towards you, squeeze it deeply onto your chest, let your bum lift, and then stretch long into that right leg and really surging down into your heels as you do so. Nice. Bring your left hand, keep it on the leg, right hand bring it to the front of the right thigh, and then begin to open your left leg out towards the left. So you're not twisting, you're not rolling over, you're really engaging the back of your body, you're sinking down through the deep of the back of your pelvis to the floor. And even like I feel like I'm pulling with my right thigh a little bit over towards the right. My right hand is really stable and strong. I'm pushing slightly with my right hand into my thigh. I have a sense of the inner thigh on the left really lengthening and opening. Nice. And then bend your right knee, draw your right knee up towards you. And as you squeeze it in, notice what happens in your pelvis and your hips. And then stretch your right leg long and let it float long and strong just above the floor. Bend your right knee, draw your right knee deeply up onto your chest. And then stretch your right leg long until it floats just above the floor. Nice. And again, draw your right knee up towards you. Really pulling it in, and stretch your right leg long until it floats just above the floor. Nice, bend your left knee, bend your right knee, draw them both up towards you, and come into butterfly knees. Really cycling into the inner thighs, soothing into the inner thighs, and then roll in the other direction. Nice. Bring the soles of your feet together, your knees apart. Reach down, hold on to your feet, and pull your feet over your face. And again, just settle in. Let yourself sink your shoulders down into the floor. Imagine that your bum will come closer to the floor, that your knees will sink a bit wider beside you, and you're really holding on to your feet and pulling your feet down towards your belly. Or towards your face, maybe a little bit higher if you can. See how that is for you. Sinking, deepening, and really let there be weight. So rather than letting your pelvis lift and just follow your feet, really feel like you're giving your pelvis a little bit more weight towards the floor. And you're allowing that there's a little bit more, maybe like 1 millimeter more of skin contact through the back of the body, because you're pulling your sit bones backwards and towards the floor. Shoulders are widening. Nice. And then keeping the soles of your feet together, slowly lower the baby toe edge of your feet all the way down, keeping your lower back on the floor as you lower your feet all the way down. And then draw your feet back up and draw your feet towards your navel. And then lower your feet down, baby toe edge comes to the floor. And then feet towards your navel. And one more time. Lower the baby toe edge of your feet to the floor. And then feet towards your navel. Nice. Bring both feet to the floor. Let them land. Let them rest completely. Dropping your knees wide. In the beginning, maybe just let everything soften. In that softening, the lower back will arch. The belly will soften and rise a little bit. Your knees will widen. And then flatten your lower back down and pull backwards into the floor. And we're going to do the pelvic tilt in this position. So arching the lower back, letting your knees drop wide, and then flattening your lower back into the floor, pulling backwards, and feel the engagement through the different parts of the inner thighs and the pelvis as we do this. Arching the lower back, and then flattening down into the lower back and pulling backwards into the floor. So how do you do this? How do you make it really smooth? So come to a neutral, come to flatten down and feel like your abdominal muscles are pulling backwards and that there's a sense of tone through the hips and the thighs. And then just lift your right foot a few inches off the floor, keeping your knee wide and the sole of your foot still facing towards the left, and then drop your foot down. And then lift the left foot off the floor. And then dropping down. Just do that a few times, one foot up. Lowering it down. Keep your knee really wide, so you're not lifting your knee up to do this. You're lifting your foot up. Try and lift the foot. Let the momentum or the energy be in foot lifting. You'll notice that suddenly it's much harder when you listen to your foot. So we'll do the other way. Lift your knee first to lift your foot, or lift your foot first to lift your foot. There's a different energy. So the other side, lift your knee first to lift your foot, or lift your foot first. Your knee will also move, but it's a different angle. You're not changing the angle of your thighs when you lift the foot first. Let's do it one more time each side. Super cool. So your feet, let them be maybe around 2 or 3 inches apart, slightly apart, and then bring your left foot to stand and let your right knee fall out to the side. So your left foot is standing in the middle, your knee is up towards the ceiling and your foot is on the floor, and your left thigh has just fallen out your right thigh has fallen out towards the right. And just let the right thigh really sink. Nice. Change. Bring the right foot to stand, drop the left knee out to the side, and just let the left thigh really sink. So sometimes when both legs are relaxing together, it's hard to really focus on one or the other, whereas here we're just focusing on one of our legs softening. Sometimes it gives it more attention, more precise attention, which allows something deeper to change. Softening. For me, I can really, when I'm just doing one leg, I can really soften into the back of the buttock, into the inner thigh. My knee can soften because it's been listened to deeply. There's a different attitude in one leg. Nice. One more time each side. Drop your right leg out to the side. Have your left foot standing. And just see how intelligent or connected you can be into the sinking or the relaxing of your deep inner thigh on the right. Nice. Last time, drop your left knee out to the side, bring your right foot to stand. Nice. And bring both feet to stand. So your both feet to stand and your knees are very close, your ankles are very close, and then drop your right knee all the way out to the side. And now your left leg's going to move. Let your left leg move towards the left, but keep your right hand on your right thigh actually, so your right knee doesn't move. So actually rock all the way over, rock all the way over until your right thigh is actually touching the floor, or your right calf or your right knee. You feel a bit of contact with the floor. Bring your right hand to your right thigh, and then try and bring your left knee as far to the left as you can. And then bring it back. Maybe drop it a little bit towards the right because it's very nice, and then rock the left knee as far to the left as you can. And then back over towards the right. Feel that wonderful folding of the outside of your hip. And then over towards the left. As you do this, notice the angle that's being met in your deep inner thigh. It's slightly different. It's the lower part of your inner thigh, perhaps the back of the hamstrings maybe. Notice for you where this moves as you wave your left knee all the way over towards the left, and then a little bit to the right. And your right leg is glued to the floor and your hand is resting on the right leg. So there's that sense of deep stability in the right side as you mobilize into the left. Nice. Other side. Both feet flat on the floor. Drop your left thigh all the way over till your left leg is resting on the floor. Bring your left hand to your left knee or left thigh. And then draw your right leg as far to the right as it'll go. Keep your left leg exactly where it is, and then swing or wave your right leg a little bit towards the left. For me, moving it slightly towards the left, this is a gorgeous thing that happens in the outside of my hip socket. And just see for you where the depth is for this. Notice what you're doing with the right foot. Are you rolling onto the side of your foot and really everting your foot? Are you keeping your foot flat to the floor? How do you move deeply into the inner thigh on the right? So it's different both ways. Rolling onto the baby toe side and kind of lengthening the outside of your ankle is one way of doing it, or having your foot stuck to the floor as you drop your knee out to the side is another way of doing it. So notice how different they are. Maybe do one and then the other. For me, having my foot flat on the floor has more power into the knee. I have less mobility, but it's a more connected movement. Whereas when I roll onto the baby toe side, I've lost some connectivity, but I have more mobility. And so there's always a payoff in movement. Nice, and come all the way back up to center. Nice, bring both feet up into happy baby pose. And just sink into your happy baby pose. So your hands are resting on the soles of your feet. How cool. I can do happy baby pose. It's amazing. Every once in a while a new pose comes back. I'm like, wow, look at that. Hold on to back foot. So great. So drop your knees wide and really sink your bum deeply towards the floor. Sinking maybe giving a little bit more energy into the heels, or widening into the toes, or imagine that there's 1 millimeter more or 1 centimeter more of skin on the floor behind you into your sacrum, into the lower back. So can you kind of pour a little bit more contact into the floor behind you? Giving it more weight, a little bit more depth, a little bit more connection. Nice. Stretch the left leg straight up towards the ceiling. And then keep holding on to the right leg really deeply, because this is going to be the anchor. And now drop the left leg out towards the left. And then come back up to center. And notice on the way back up, are you struggling with the way back up? And if you are, then you went too deeply. So it's not about going as deep as you can. It's about where is the point that I can return with the greatest grace and connection. And so notice that going into something, coming out is just as important. Or as you do this, are the connectivity of your leg, is it changing? So the first time I did it, I could feel like, wow, this feels like it's work. And suddenly now it's like, oh no, I've learned how to do this. So just drop your leg out to the side and really anchor down through the right leg as you pause there. So your left leg is out towards the left, and you're sinking deeply into the right thigh, into the right knee, as you pull it down in happy baby pose on the right. And so often when we're in Cossack squat, that's the one where one knee is bent and the other leg is straight. That's a similar shape to this. And just really feel that maybe again you focus on the fact that a little bit more skin or a little bit more weight can come into the sacrum, because you're sinking backwards through the pelvis and you're connecting deeply into the full back of your body. Nice. And draw your left leg back up to center. Come back up into happy baby pose. I'm pausing there for a moment. Nice. And then stretch the right leg straight up towards the ceiling. Anchor deeply through the left side as you drop the right leg out towards the right. Listening. And then return, bringing it all the way back up to center. And then again, drop the right leg out towards the right. So it's really interesting, like where is the deepest point of wellness that I can return from? What is the most connected way that I can be in my legs? Like how do I move with grace on the way down? Feel the deep moment of the full range of whatever it is, and then deep sense of connection on the way back up. Nice, one more time. And lower your leg out to the right and then pause there. So you're in your left knee is bent, you're holding onto your left leg into happy baby pose, your right leg is really long and strong, and you're trying to bring a little bit more of your sacrum and your bum onto the floor. Maybe not your bum, but your sacrum onto the floor. You're widening, deepening into the back of your body. Bringing just 1 millimeter more contact or one tiny little bit more pressure into the floor. Now just come all the way back up to center. Stretch both legs up towards the ceiling and let's roll again into kind of big frog legs. Rolling, rolling, and then roll in the other direction. Nice, and then shake out your legs. Nice, lower both feet to the floor, bring your arms out to the side, and then just do the normal gliding twist. So drop your knees down towards the right, glide your left knee up in the direction of your right elbow, and then come all the way back, both feet to the floor, and then down towards the left, glide your right knee up in the direction of your left elbow. And then just begin to glide from side to side and let it deeply soothe or ease out into the deep of your lower back, because we were really anchoring and stretching into the back there when we were lengthening into our legs. So let this really massage your lower back. So as you roll across your back, as you draw your knee up towards your elbow, let it be soothing, connected, wellness as you pour into the juiciness of you. Nice, and then all the way back up to center. Both feet to the floor, feet are hip distance apart. You can bring your arms along beside you and then roll up along your spine. And as you roll up along your spine, just feel the opening of the front of your hips as you push deeply down into the floor. And then slowly rolling down all the way along your spine. And then traveling up, rolling up along your hips or along your spine as you rise upwards. And slowly rolling all the way down until you land on the floor. One more time, rolling all the way up. When you get to the top of the movement, just begin to sway your hips from side to side, or your knees from side to side. So you're kind of stretching a little bit more into the sides of your hips, the outsides of your ankles, the sense of the deep of you. As you sway your knees from side to side, just feel that stretchy chewing gum, cling film bits of the outside of your body. Nice, and then lowering your bum to the floor, draw both knees up towards you, squeeze both knees deeply in, and then begin to lower the left leg away from you and bring your right ankle to rest on top of your left knee. And bring your arms wide again and just twist from side to side with your left foot floating in the air, and just drop your knees from side to side and allow, as you drop down towards the right, allow your legs to fan. So they become like like a fan, whereas when you travel towards the left, it's more like a box that's traveling towards the left. Notice that in the shape of your legs. So over towards the left, it's a 90-degree angle. Over towards the right, it's more like a straight line between your knee, your foot, your knee, your foot. Notice how that is in your body as you sway from side to side. And almost try and bring the left knee to the floor over towards the right. And almost try and bring the left knee to the floor over towards the left. Just feel how you almost touch the floor one way, or whatever is your deep, and almost touch the floor in the other way. And really listen to how that is in your lower back as you sink a little bit deeper with a sense of purpose. As you sink a little bit deeper with a sense of purpose. One more time each side, deepening and deepening. Nice. And back up to center, change legs. Bring your left foot to the top of the right knee and begin to sway from side to side. And as you sway from side to side, notice the shape difference from one side to the other. Notice how that is for you. How does this move? How do you... And when you've warmed up into the pose a few times, then you can begin to imagine that your right knee will come down towards the floor on the left, and that your right knee will come down towards the floor on the right. Almost touching, not quite touching, because as soon as you touch, we tend to surrender, so we're hovering. It's more like this connected bow into the lower back, or a sense of deep into the abdominal muscles, or strong into the legs, as you sway from one side to the other. Nice. And come all the way back to center. Stretch both legs towards the ceiling. Drop your arms overhead so they reach out long and above your head. And just pause there. Legs are up towards the ceiling. Arms are long along the floor above your head. Back of your hands are resting on the floor. And just let yourself be long. I never noticed that the word belong and belong are the same. So belong. Be here now. It's always quite amazing teaching in this particular spot because it's like teaching in a glass house. So as I lie here, I'm watching the clouds. It's just one kind of medium-sized cloud kind of floating past in a massive blue sky. It was raining a few moments ago, so the rain was like pouring down along the glass, and it's so beautiful. So beautiful. So we're going to swing our legs. So we do this always. It's one of my favorite movements. I could just spend hours doing it. I just love it. So you're just going to sway your legs so your toes come a little bit closer towards your hands. And sway your legs so that your legs come a little bit closer to the floor. But there's no real expectation as to how far they move in either direction. It's just finding your sense of, it could be literally that your legs move a little bit away and your legs move, it's like find the grace or the smoothness or the connectivity in this movement for you. So it's going to look different for all of us. You might find that your toes touch your hands above your head and that your heels come down to the floor almost all the way down. But just whatever you do, feel like your legs are light, and to create that lightness, let your legs be really strong down as far as your toes. Let your legs be really connected together. And let the sense of, it's like, I always feel like it's this magnetic sense of the length of the bones of my legs and the muscles as they grip them are really connected and light. And just roll up and down. Right, one more time from wherever you are. Super cool. So you have the option of rolling up along your spine to come up into your downward dog, or roll over and come up into your downward dog. Whatever way you do. Coming up. And stretching back and lengthening into your downward dog. Just feeling that. How is that in your body? Wiggling a little bit, stretching a little bit, feeling into. Maybe have a bit of a roll into your spine. How do you roll and reach and stretch? And maybe can you send a little bit of a wave through your spine? Can you send a sense of a rounding into the lower back and then an arching into the lower back, or a sense of a curve that travels from your lower back into the upper back? Or maybe there's a side bend or a wiggle into the hips, or a stretching through one side or a stretching through the other side. Or how do you feel into the strength and the length of you? Nice. So stretch your left leg up towards the ceiling, reaching up. Now just have a sense of length from the left hand all the way into the left toes. And get longer, pushing stronger. So really surge into the strength of the lightness of your legs again. So how would you create a connected, strong, long leg as it travels back behind you? And if that's something that doesn't feel very obvious, then just create that sense of an emerging sense of lightness or an emerging sense of connectivity. Nice. Drop your left foot to the floor and then stretch long into the left leg. Your right leg, sorry. Your right leg is reaching up and back behind you. You're in your downward dog and you're really finding that length into your right leg. See if you can connect from your right hand all the way into your right foot. Connectivity, lightness. Nice. And then drop your right foot to the floor. Stretching back into your downward dog. And then lengthen the left leg up towards the ceiling. Bring your left leg a little bit over towards the right. And then bend your left knee like as if you're going to imagine that your left foot's going to come towards your right shoulder. So as you surge into that left knee, as you open into your belly, push down into the two hands on the floor. Push down into that right foot on the floor and open your belly more and more towards the left. So your belly is turning towards the left, but your chest is still facing the floor. Nice. Stretch through that left leg. Lower your left foot to the floor. Drop it down and then lengthen along through the right leg, up and back behind you. So your right leg is stretching back. Find that connectivity and then draw your right leg over towards the left. And then bend your right knee like as if your right foot's going to come towards your left shoulder. Again, your belly is turning more and more towards the right. And you have a sense of your head and chest is still facing the floor, but your belly is turning, your hips are turning. It's a twist. It's a bit like the twists we do on the floor when we're swinging your leg along behind us. Nice. Stretch your leg out long, drop your knee to the floor, foot to the floor. And then from here, bring both knees to the floor for a moment. And then bring your right knee forward towards your right hand. And then bring your elbows to the floor. So you're coming down into a pigeon pose. Bring both elbows to the floor. And just pause there in your pigeon pose with your left leg long behind you and your right knee bent. And just let yourself rest your shoulders, rest your wrists. You can rest your head on the back of your hands if you wish. And just pausing there, deepening into your hips, sinking into your belly. Nice, let's have a bit of a wiggle. So bring both hands to the floor beside your knee. Hands as wide as your mat. And then just rock a little bit from side to side. So your hips are dropping a little bit from side to side, and you'll feel that your right bum falls and then your left waist lengthens. So feel that right bum falls, left waist lengthens. Right bum falls, left lengthens. Nice. Reaching forward, look forward, or lengthen your spine upwards, looking forward. Nice. And then drop your nose down and bring your nose down in the direction of the floor. Nice. And then stretching up, looking forward. And then drop your nose down and bring your nose towards the floor. Nice. Come back up, lengthening upwards, looking forward. And then look over your right shoulder. Nice. And then look over your left shoulder. Nice. Look over your right shoulder. And look over your left shoulder. Super cool. And from here, bring both knees back together and then push back into your downward dog, really giving that right leg some love. As you lengthen, stretch, have a bit of a wiggle. And then bring your left knee forward. So your left knee is forward and you're bringing both elbows to the floor and you're dropping down into your pigeon pose on the left. So your left knee is beside your left hand and you drop down into the floor with your belly down towards your left thigh, and your elbows are wide and your head is resting down on your hands perhaps, or just floating in the air above your hands. And just sink your belly, settle into it. Nice, and let's have a bit of a wiggle. So bring both hands forward, either side of the mat, and then just rock your hips from side to side. And as you do so, just feel the difference. So maybe your right bum, left bum falls, right waist lengthens as you sway your hips from side to side. Nice, and then lengthen the chest, look forward, and then drop your nose down. Bring your nose down in the direction of the floor. Nice, lengthen your chest, looking forward. And then drop your nose down, bring it down to the floor. Nice, one more time. Lengthen and look forward. And then turn and look over your right shoulder. And turn and look over your left shoulder. Right shoulder. Left shoulder. Super cool. Stepping back into your downward dog. So bring your left knee back and then push back into your downward dog. And as you do so, you feel that sense of lengthening through both legs. Stretching out through both legs, and you're bending both knees and stretching both legs. And bending both knees and stretching both legs. Nice. Stretch the left foot up towards the ceiling, reaching long. And then bend the left knee and draw the left knee towards your forehead and your forehead towards your knee. Stretch the left foot up towards the ceiling, reaching really long. And then bend your left knee, draw your forehead to your knee and your knee to your forehead. One more time. Stretch the left foot up towards the ceiling. Bend your left knee, forehead to your knee, knee to your forehead. Nice. Other side. Stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling. And then bend your right knee, forehead to your knee, knee to your forehead. Stretch your right leg up towards the ceiling. Bend your right knee, forehead to your knee, knee to your forehead. Right. Last one. Leg up and back on the right. Forehead to your knee, knee to your forehead. Nice. And then bring both knees to the floor. And just dive with your right hand onto your left armpit. And twist your torso. So bring the right side of your head to the floor. Bring the right shoulder to the floor. As you twist the top of your torso. Wiggle that right hand. Maybe make a fist and roll. And then roll in the other direction. Open your fingers wide, make a fist. Open your fingers wide and make a fist. Great, change. Bring your right hand to the floor, glide your left hand under your armpit. Bring the left side of your head to the floor, bring the left shoulder to the floor. Make a fist out of your hand, roll. As you roll your wrist, as you circle deeply into it, feel the sense of your wrist and then roll in the other direction. Open your fingers wide, make fists. Open your fingers wide and make fists. Nice, come all the way back. Both hands under your shoulders. Just do the shoulder shrug, shoulders forward, shoulders backwards, shoulders forwards, shoulders backwards. And just feel the deep shoulder shrug as you glide your shoulder blades and your collarbones. Nice. Bring your hands a tiny bit wider and then try and bring your nose as close to the floor as you can. And then push down into your hands, draw your chest away from the floor into it's not quite a cat pose, but it's something like a cat pose. You're not moving your head. And then drop your nose down, let it touch the floor, or in that direction. Lift your chest deeply away from the floor. And again, nose down, touch the floor, lift deeply up through your spine, keeping your head still as you do it. So you're not round, you're coming into a cat without a head as such. Nice, one more time. Drop your nose down in the direction of the floor. And rounding deeply into your spine. Nice, cool. So come sit on your mat and bring the soles of your feet together and your knees apart. So excited the other day when I could do this. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So, holding onto your shins and just sitting up tall. And just feel the sense, we're really working our wrists there, our shoulders. So just feel that as you sit and pull deeply on your shins. And let your neck grow deeply out of your spine. And so just imagine that you're like, I almost imagine that my head is floating a bit like one of those amazing, are they the Maasai or the Ethiopians or something, and they have those necks that they have the rings on them or something. So just imagine that your neck is growing and growing and growing, lengthening. Nice. So bring your feet so there's a small gap between your feet, a tiny gap. And then bring your right foot to stand. So your foot is going to stand. We were doing something similar a few moments ago on the floor. So your right foot is standing and it's pushing into the floor. And drop your knee wide. And then bring your left foot to stand. And then drop your knee wide. Bring your right foot to stand. And then bring both hands over towards the left side. So your hands are pushing into the floor. And you have a sense of pushing deeply. And then push deep enough that you could lift your bum off the floor. So your right foot is strong and both hands are pushing into the floor. And your left bum, your whole of your bum is floating off the floor. Drop your bum to the floor and come all the way back. Both knees wide, soles of your feet together. And then lift your left foot up till your foot is standing on the floor. Bring both hands to the floor. Push deep enough that you could lift your bum off the floor. Nice. Drop your bum to the floor, drop both knees wide. Great, one more time. Bring both hands, lift your right foot up. No, bring your foot to stand, lift your right knee up. Bring both hands to the floor, lift your bum off the floor. And lift it as high as it'll go. How high can you lift your bum? How high can you really round your back? So both sides of your ribcage are really different. Your left side is really different from your right side here. Nice, lower your bum to the floor. And back to center, both feet wide, knees wide. And then bring your left foot to stand. Bring both hands to the floor to your right. And then lift your bum off the floor. So as you do so, really feel the difference between the two sides of your body. So your right side is really different from your left side. So noticing that in your body, feeling it, sensing it. Nice, drop your bum to the floor. And come back to center. Cool, make fists out of your hands, roll. And then roll in the other direction. Cool. Something similar, but we're going to do the reaching version of that. So bring your right foot to stand, bring your left hand to the floor, and then reach as far as you can towards the left with your right hand. And it's almost like you're pushing into your right foot, and almost feels like I'm going to lift my bum a little bit off the floor because I'm bringing loads of weight into that left hand as I try and reach a little bit further. So it's like I'm just about to lift my bum off the floor. And then come back and bring the left foot to stand and bring your right hand to the floor and then reach and really feel, how do I create that extra bit of reaching over here towards the right with my left hand. Super. Come all the way back. Nice. Bring, actually from here, bring both knees together and then lift both feet off the floor. And then bring both feet so they're the same height as your knees. And then reach both hands forward in front of you. And just notice how you sit up tall here. And then actually lower your feet down, they don't have to be up. So bring your feet down, they're still off the floor, but you're not lifting your feet. So your feet are off the floor, but they're not up. And then interlock your fingers so your hands are strong in front of you. And then bring both hands over towards the left and try and touch the floor on the left side. And then come all the way back up. And then bring both hands over towards the right and try and touch the floor on the right side. It's this weird push-pull strangeness in your arms. And then come all the way back up. And just travel from side to side. Down on one side, back up, and down to the other side, and back up. If you want to make it really hard, keep your knees together. A little bit easier is that your knee travels away as you travel over. Notice, do your knees travel, or can you keep them together? I was saying at the beginning of the class that things like this are in the morning. I do my yoga in the morning. I've been doing loads of this kind of stuff because this is like non-weight bearing on my leg and Feels very satisfying. Nice. Come all the way back to center. You're probably a little bit warmer. Feet are floating. You can do this, guys. And then reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And just breathe. Nice. Hold on to your knees. Pull them in towards you. And then stretch your right leg long. And then just lift your right leg up and down a few times. So lift up. So your feet are still floating and your right leg is now just lifting up and down and up and down and up and down. It's killer, I know. And up and down. Great. Other side. Draw your right knee in towards you. Hold on to it. Stretch your left leg long. Up and down. Nice. Good job. Up and down. Just feel it. How do you really sense the deep of your belly? Like these are whopper of thigh, belly, inner thigh, bum, lower back. And one more time. Woohoo! Squeeze both knees in towards you. Know that you have legs. Nice. Keep your feet floating. Bring the soles of your feet together and just hold on to your ankles and keep floating in the air with your ankles, holding onto your ankles. Nice. Bring your knees together. Bring your feet apart. Soles of your feet together, knees apart. Bring your knees together. And bring the soles of your feet together. Nice. Knees together. Interlock your fingers. We're back here again. Bring both arms down, hands down. Let them touch the floor. Just travel from side to side. Maybe keeping your knees together. Maybe not. As you travel from one side to the other side. One more time each side. Now let's stretch your legs out long. Roll deeply out through your belly and just feel that you know where your belly is. Isn't that an amazing thing? You know where your psoas is, those amazing deep muscles of your belly. Your lower back, your rib cage. You're probably quite warm. And then roll in the other direction. Super cool. So if you're on you need something slightly slidey. So you have your legs off your yoga mat. So either on a carpet or on a floor of some kind. It'll be easier. On the yoga mat, they'll tend to stick. So lean back and then turn both of your toes towards the left and then bend both knees up until you're kind of in zigzag, but you're leaning back. And then stretch your legs out long. So you're not letting all the weight be in your legs. Your legs are slightly lighter. And then turn both feet over towards the left. So your toes have turned towards the right and you bend your knees towards the feet over towards the left. And just do that a few times. So you're really gliding your feet one way, but you're trying to keep this engagement in your abdominal muscles because for your feet to really float, you have to make your legs slightly lighter. So just feel that. So maybe you lean back into your hands, maybe you let your hands float as you glide your feet in one direction and then in the other direction. Maybe you do it where your feet are completely floating off the floor. That's really hard. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. One more time each side, whichever way you're doing it. Super job. Stretch your legs out long. And just roll out through your ankles. Big circles. Bend and stretch your knees a few times. And roll into your belly. And then in the other direction. Right, so if you have a really deep forward bend, then just go straight forward with your legs straight. Otherwise, bend your knees a little bit. Because we really want to focus not on the hamstrings and the lower back, more on the upper back and shoulders. So tendency is if you're really high away from, let's see. So just come into a forward bend. So you're leaning forward, your hands are on the floor, your elbows are bending, and just let your head drop. So as your head drops, as you really fall forward, let yourself round deeply forward. You can walk your hands a little bit further forward. So just to say, it's just gone 7:30. I got terribly excited about all the stuff I can now do that I've gone slightly over time. So if anybody has to leave because it's 7:30, then that's now. Otherwise, we'll be another 5 minutes or so until the end of class, okay? So just see what you need to do time-wise, okay? Just rounding forward, dropping forward. And really let things slow down in the deep of you. Let your shoulders widen, let that space between your shoulder blades, between your neck. So I love, it's really nice bringing your arms wider or really bending your elbows down to the floor. So, or out a little bit to the side so that you have this sense of space between the shoulder blades, between the deep back. So find kind of change the angle a little bit until you find your sweet spot. So for me, the sweet spot is where my hands are kind of at, if my 12 o'clock was my clock, my toes, then my arms are a bit at kind of 2:30 on one side and like 9:30 on the other side. So just see for you where that is, where it feels like the sweet spot, where your shoulders widen and that your arms can really sink and drop. Nice. Slowly coming up. And then just scoot yourself to the front of your mat. And just begin to roll backwards until you land on the floor. And when you land, there'll be a little bit of a deep, groany ache that emerges from your spine as our spine settles into the opposite direction. We were in a deep flexion there a moment ago. Now it's a little bit more an extension and opening. You can either bring your feet to the floor or have your knees in the air. Just rock your knees gently from side to side. You rock from one side to the other side. Nice. And then coming back to center, either having your feet on the floor with your knees bent, having your legs stretched out into relaxation. If you feel like relaxation for you is where your knees are, soles of your feet together and your knees are wide, then do. But it shouldn't be a working pose. Some people that's a really deeply restful pose, and if that is for you, then great. And if it isn't, then one of the two other ones where your knees are bent or your legs are straight. And just find how you land and settle. How do you arrive? Maybe notice where you're holding or where you're still dynamic. Maybe just ease into the resting, ease into the softening, ease into deepening. Yeah, just check in at the beginning of class. We were looking at where is the most smooth or coherent or harmonic place in our breath, or the most kind of sweet place in our breath. Where is that for you right now? Is it in the same place or has it changed? Really following that roller coaster, which is every single breath. So many different sensations. It's phenomenal. I feel like I'm a different person than every moment of my breath. And then just take a deeper breath. Stretch into your fingers. Stretch into your toes. Lengthen through the whole of your body. Either drawing your knees up or rocking your knees over. Just getting a sense of how do you awaken? How do you arise? What do you do to emerge?